What do you need most at this very moment? A good job? A career? Money? That are important to him or her. Some and others long. Yet not one of these needs is as important as moment. Breathing. It has been 39 seconds since this film began. If you had been unable to breathe for 39 seconds, you would have given up all you owned in order to be able to breathe again. In another minute or so, you would have lost consciousness. Brain death would follow in another 2 or 3 minutes, and your life would be at an end. You have now taken some 16 breaths since this film began. You will have taken another 200 or so by the time it ends. And you will see what a great blessing breathing is, and how each one of the systems which allow you to breathe is a great miracle. And you will witness examples of God's art of creation in your body. Breathing. This process, which seems so simple and which very few people ever think about, is actually the first link in a miracle. Every cell in our bodies needs the oxygen provided by breathing. The beating of your heart, the movements of your muscles, cell division, thought. None of these would be possible without oxygen. One breath is enough for oxygen to enter the body. A deep breath is, of course, even more effective. Oxygen in that breath will quickly reach the lungs, where it will board vehicles specially designed for it. These vehicles will spread the oxygen throughout the body, and it will represent the source of life for each of the 100 trillion or so cells in the body. Let us now have a close look at this flawless mechanism which goes into action at birth and never stops as long as we must commence our the gateway to the system. We usually think smells, yet it has another important function. The nose makes the air we breathe suitable for the lungs. It possesses a marvelous aerodynamic design. It works like a perfect air conditioning unit, and its interior is equipped with special filters. The curled structure of the nose allows the air to move around inside it. The air is thus warmed and moistened by the nasal mucus. The hairs inside the nose work like an air filter. Some 20 billion foreign bodies, such as dust, bacteria, and pollen, are trapped by these hairs in the nostrils. Those which get past are caught by a second defense mechanism, the secretion known as mucus. The upper respiratory tract and windpipe are covered in a viscous, slippery substance called mucus. This keeps the air passages moist. It also stops harmful substances from reaching the lungs. Mucus is assisted by the cilia, each one of them validating Darwinism. Which serve you day and night. The mucal secretion will own very the aerodynamic inside the nose all go to prove one very creative. The Orion in every part of the body are proof of mind. In one very we created you, so why do you not confirm the truth? The lungs is that in the windpipe. The structure of the windpipe is the perfect design of the human body. The walls of the windpipe support shaped rings of cartilage. This allows movement. If the windpipe were made lead to constant blockages. Impossible for us to breathe. If it were made of bone, then our movements would be to a large extent restricted. Yet the cartilaginous structure of the windpipe is perfectly used for all kinds of movement, always open to flexibility. There is another very special design. This design saves our lives every time we have the esophagus and the windpipe lie side by side in the throat. One organ, as I'm doing now, the windpipe, yet nothing of the sort happens.
Ancak böyle olmaz.
All I can breathe. The food never gets caught in my windpipe.
Borma yemek
What is it that affects me?
tabii sizi
And you, of course.
yemek
When
yerken bol
small flap of gas is called epipause, right at the entrance of the windpipe. This flap closes the entrance to the windpipe for swallow. During all the meals you have eaten, maybe right to the you have swallowed tens of thousands of times, and every single time has closed the entrance to your windpipe at exactly the right moment. Although you are unaware of it, and had no control over it, this little flap has saved your life by closing your windpipe at just the right moment. As always, the theory of evolution is helpless in the face of this stuff. It is impossible for such an important system, the human life, to have come about by chance. By fate. In the absence of a human being, the first moment he took a bite that created all the features possessed by a human being. Carbon dioxide has a reproductive functions. This carbon dioxide is carried away from the tissue by the blood. Blood, loaded with carbon dioxide, is dirty. In order for the blood to make contact with the oxygen in will exchange. There are 5 of blood in the body. To be careful, this 5 blood is spread over an area of around 100 square, equivalent to the area of a tennis court. Everyone watching this film has an area of the size of a tennis court bleed into his lungs. Incomparable
sanatıyla.
the lung. The lung consists of bronchia divided into hundreds of different tubes. At the end of each one of these bronchia, alveoli, or air sacs, the size of a pinhead. There are 300 billion of these air sacs in the lung. Their total surface area is equivalent to the pinhead. Air passing through the bronchia fills the alveoli. The alveoli are covered with capillaries, the smallest of the blood vessels. The alveoli and capillaries are separated from each other with a thin membrane. This membrane permits an exchange of gases and the carbon dioxide in the dirty blood here, and the dirty blood alveoli, which allows your blood to be clean with every breath you take, no larger than a pinhead. 300 million of these in your chest, but they all perform their function at all time is another proof of incomparable art. Now, look at these pinhead-sized alveoli and witness of God's creation. The alveoli inflate with every breath and return form. The breath is released again. The interior surface of the alveoli is coated with thin layer and the water molecule creates tension. Tension depends mainly upon the cohesive forces between water molecules. The surface tension formed by the water coating the alveoli collapse at the end of exhalation. We normally have to expend enormous energy and suffer considerable discomfort in order to expand every breath. Yet we manage to breathe perfectly comfortably. What is the secret behind this? To this question encountered a most important miracle. A supportive organism has been placed inside every one of the 300 alveoli to serve the human body. These are known as cells. Type 2 cells produce a very special substance called and spread this over the internal surfaces of the alveoli. The molecule is specially designed to reduce surface tension in water. That molecule, the alveoli, inward. At this point, we need to consider type 2 cells possess no eyes, ears, brain, or path and are invisible to the naked. So how does this substance know the alveoli will collapse? You can now see some of the formula on the screen. This formula has been specially designed to remove surface tension. Who taught type cells to avoid it is of eye, ear, brain, the chemical why did they vote substance? Only in the alveoli, just where the surfactant is needed, and nowhere else. Who was it? The ear or the heart, for instance, was solely where it inside the alveoli. The number of rises as one continues to study the alveoli, since the type 2 cells are not the only faithful workers of the alveoli. Other supporting cells have been located inside the alveoli. The macrophage. Any foreign body that may give by security precautions in the upper respiratory tract and to reach the lung represents serious danger. Macrophage both these foreign bodies which enter the alveoli. So who was it who charged the macrophage to stand and watch over your alveoli all through and thus protecting your health? There is only one answer to this question. It is God who created the macrophage, the type 2 cells, the alveoli, the perfect design in those alveoli, the lungs. God's art of creation is incomparable. In one does not drop, yet there he is, an open against. Who will say, he who made them will bring them back to life? He has total knowledge of each created. We're now seeing how the carbon dioxide in the blood is expelled. Blood is oxygenated in the alveoli in the lungs, yet the considerable distance between the alveoli and the other tissue of the body. Furthermore, transporting oxygen is a process requiring the sensitivity. This resembles carrying the crystal glass in mind and to the other end of the world without breaking it. How do the oxygen carry that distance? Center appears in a mirror creation. The oxygen which enters the alveoli with the air is met by the cell responsible for transporting it at the moment mixed with the blood. These are the red blood cells. There is a very special protein in red hemoglobin. Every single red blood cell contains 50 million hemoglobin molecules. This protein, called hemoglobin, is specially designed to take up oxygen. 4 iron atoms. These atoms attract oxygen. Oxygen sets out on its long journey in the blood. When it reaches the need of oxygen, hemoglobin's power to become iron is reduced thanks to a number of specially designed substances. The oxygen released from the hemoglobin and red blood cells is delivered to the cells which need it. The carbon dioxide produced by the cell is again transported to the lung complex systems. The carbon dioxide carried to the lung is this exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide is all through life. Let us now have a closer look at the system. The hemoglobin molecule is a protein 160. In the central region are 4 atoms responsible for the transportation of oxygen. Hemoglobin and amino acid sequence have been specially designed for the transportation of oxygen. An alteration to would mean that it is unable to carry oxygen and fulfill hemoglobin. The subsystems that work with it also polygen. For instance, hemoglobin and establish a powerful bond when they come together in the bond. Yet this bond weakens to withstand the need of oxygen, and the oxygen is released from the hemoglobin. The system has been planned down to the line of detail. If the bond between oxygen and hemoglobin in the lung were not sufficiently powerful, then the oxygen would not combine, in which case it would not be carried to the tissues which need it. Those die. The slightest alteration to the present state in the hemoglobin. In fact, cyanide, one of the strongest known poisons, will affect itself to the hemoglobin molecule, preventing it from performing this very function. All these facts once again reveal the basic evolution. The theory of evolution means that life features gradually, stage by stage. Yet the other million systems of the body, the oxygen transportation system can only function if it is in its perfect state. Even the slightest alteration, only one part of the whole oxygen transportation system, means the whole is unable to. For this reason, it is impossible for hemoglobin and the oxygen to have come about by evolution. Foreign bodies in it to the pharynx. Here they are swallowed together with the swallowing reflex, and are then destroyed by the stomach. Alternatively, foreign bodies may be by coughing. A violent cough can reach speeds of up to 960 kilometers or 600 miles an hour. Of evidence that serious precautions have been taken to protect be considered. In the passage carried in the upper respiratory tract, on the other hand, foreign bodies. The billions in both close inspection reveals a most important on structures with no ears, eyes, or brain. Non-deaf structures know the location. All cilia begin in direction. All same direction. Cilia. Everything that came into the world around function. It performs that function with. It carries the mucus layer to the Almighty God created man upon his form, who gives beauty. Perform the function God has given them, and work in foreign bodies. Makes the scale local. Under the microscope, the cilia resemble simple. They are in engineering, and the complexity that those circles to defend the of evolution can never have been brought together in such a way as to form a cylinder. The protein in the middle are the system's central motion generator. The protein set out among the protein chains represent the end of their movement. Some scientists have still to fully reveal the 20 beats a second. The design in the because the only work all components fully present. It is impossible in stages. In other words, for it to be, there is another point which should not be hidden. Their purpose of their own. We need to work together with the mucus layer in order to protect human life. Mucus also turns out to be a design when examined up close. Mucus is rather thin. a 30-centimeter ruler. Meter part 100. Millimeter is so small a number that one millimeter. Moreover, this thin layer contains two separate sublayers. The bottom one is slippery. Cilia carry the mucus in a particular safety layer is rather viscous, which allows it to trap harmful. Two layers that never get mixed up or change places. To understand the perfection of design in the system, let us imagine a moment. If the viscous layer were at the bottom, then the unable to move would stick where they were. If the slippery layer were on top, then the the lung was caught by the mucus. In either event, the system would serve no purpose, and human beings would eventually resulted in their death. This has been functioning flawlessly since the first human beings came into existence. Came into being by chance, stage by stage. Yet that, as we have just seen, the slight irregularity would cause it to serve no purpose. Of evidence, in fact, even a hemoglobin molecule on its own is evidence of the invalidity of the theory of evolution and proof of the perfection of God's creation. In the Quran, God says, "And in your creation and all the creatures He has spread about, there are signs for people with certainty." People do many different things. Whatever they still have to keep breathing. In order to breathe. Neither do they use their free will in order to breathe. They breathe right from the moment of their birth, even in their sleep. The brain is the command center for the whole process of respiration. A group of nerves in the brainstem and the medulla region of the brain direct the respiratory system. The nerves in the medulla send commands to the muscles surrounding the rib cage to contract for 2 seconds. As the muscles contract, the lungs fill with air. Then, the nerve signals from the medulla are cut for 3 seconds. The muscles then relax. The air in the lungs is then expelled as the muscles assume their earlier form. By the medulla takes around 5 seconds. 2 seconds for inhaling and 3 for exhaling. Under normal conditions, a healthy person breathes some 12 times a minute. Yet that figure goes up under certain circumstances. As you can see, my breathing rate has risen considerably.
Solunumum oldukça hızlandı.
Yet it is not me who has decided to breathe quickly at this moment. My chest muscles are forcing me to,
Beni buna zorluyor.
and I feel
Yavaş
discomfort
nefes
if I
vermek
try to
istersem
breathe slowly.
bir acı hissediyorum. Biraz önce spor yaptığım
Since
için
I have just
vücut
worked out,
dokularımın daha çok
my tissue had a
oksijene
greater need
ihtiyacı
for
oldu.
oxygen, and my
Ve beynim
brain
de beni
obliged me to
hızlı
breathe
nefes alıp
faster.
vermeye zorluyor. Normal solunum sırasında
In the
nasıl
same way
kontrol
that
benim
my
elimde
breathing
değilse,
under normal conditions is out of my
şu
control,
anda hızlı nefes
so
alıp
is the way that I
verirken
am
de
currently
aynı şekilde
breathing
kontrol
quickly.
bende değil. Oh.
Control of breathing is thus independent of an individual's will. When the muscles work more than under normal conditions, they consume more oxygen. As the level of oxygen in the blood falls, the level of carbon dioxide rises. Muscle cells under pressure give off lactic acid. The oxygen, carbon dioxide, and lactic acid receptors in various parts of the body become aware of this change and send warnings to the respiratory center in the brain. When the warning reaches the medulla, the respiratory neurons send commands to the chest muscles and ensure that they work faster. On the other hand, other precautions are also taken in the body. The heart starts beating faster, for instance. The skin pores are opened in order to balance the rise in body temperature and attempts to cool the body down. When pressure on the muscles is lifted, all the systems gradually return to their normal condition. The interconnected systems work and serve beyond the individual's control, will, and knowledge. Man's duty is thus to give thanks to God, who created him with such perfection. Create the artistry in his creation. In one verse of the Quran, God reveals, the Creator, the Maker, the Giver of form. To him belong the most beautiful names. In this film, we have examined the miracle in the respiratory system. The air conditioning system in the nose. The protective mechanism in the respiratory tract. The cilia which serve for a whole lifetime. The mucus which works alongside the cilia. The design in the windpipe. The flap which prevents you choking when you eat. The area the size of a tennis court inside your chest. The alveoli no bigger than a pinhead. The special cells within those alveoli. The red blood cells responsible for oxygen transportation. The miraculous protein hemoglobin. The attraction between oxygen and iron, and the sensitive way that attraction is balanced. The carbon dioxide transportation systems. The special nervous system which controls breathing outside the individual's volition. And we have looked at other systems which assist human beings to breathe. We have seen that these systems have been created in a flawless and perfect form. A person's taking just one single breath is a great miracle requiring gratitude to God. You have taken around 200 breaths since this film began. You will also continue to breathe long after it is over. until God claims your soul back in the same way that He gave it to you. When that day comes, when you take your last breath, you will have to account for everything you did and every blessing given to you throughout your life. People must think about this
İnsan bu
truth
gerçeği
and give
düşünmeli
thanks to our
ve
Creator
nefesini
God,
vermeye
who
zamanı
allows us
varken,
to breathe and
kendisini
imparts
yaratan,
countless blessings
ona
to
her
us,
an nefes
while
aldıran
there is still
ve
time
sayısız
and
nimetler
before last
Yüce
breath
Allah'a
comes.
şükretmelidir.
As God
Bir
commands
Kur'an
in the
ayetinde
Quran,
Allah şöyle buyurur.
mankind, worship your Lord who created you and those before you, so that hopefully you may do your duty.